Righty, well, welcome to day 4 of DEI week. I am so overjoyed that so many of you guys have shared an hour of your time with us this week. Just a quick housekeeping item. On the screen, you will see NAA's antitrust compliance and legal disclaimer, along with a content disclaimer. As always, the full statement can be found on NAA's website. If you have any questions or concerns, don't hesitate to reach out to us here at NAA, and we'd be more than happy to help you with that. As always, everything that you hear and see today is for educational purposes and not legal ones. If you have legal questions, please reach out to your legal counsel. And with our content today, these are the views and opinions of our panelists. And if you have any additional questions, you can absolutely reach out to them. Okay, now with all that out of the way, let me introduce you to who you're going to be talking to. So these 3 dynamic leaders, you might know them by their work. You might know them as in the industry holding some of the most prestigious titles in our business, like NAEI president, vice president, or chairs of some of our most impactful committees at NAA and NAEI. But what you might not know is they are mothers, they are daughters, they are friends, and they are pillars in their community. So let's see how they juggle it all and emerge as the powerful leaders of not only the industry, but also their communities and families. Please join me by welcoming these inspiring women to the stage.
Hello, everyone. We're super excited to be here. I'm not sure how the screens are going because what I see, I'm not sure if that's what y'all see, but hopefully you can see us all here. We've got the amazing group of women. We have worked together on a couple of sessions and we thought, what a great conversation. This is going to be a little bit laid back, a conversation about women executives or parents or caretakers or however it applies to you in the workplace and how we do or don't balance it all. So we're going to have a good time. This is going to be a fun laid back conversation. And I would like to first start off with my friend Aishia, if she could introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Aishia Shepherd. I am an executive vice president with AMC Delancey Group out of Philly. So, the Cowboys people, I see you. And I've been in the industry for about 17 years. I feel like I'm so excited to talk about this because we're all people who happen to be working, and this is something that I think you will all take a lot from.
I love that. Marcy French, I'm the Vice President of Asset Management for HRG Asset Management. I also have a little company called French's Leadership Solutions. Been in the industry for exactly 30 years this year. I'm excited about this because I have given up on work-life balance. So every time we have this conversation, I'm for it because I think it's always healthy to talk about what we're all doing to maintain our sanity as we are parents, caretakers, executives, working employees or staff members or team members. I think, there's a lot of mental health conversations going on right now, and I just think it's timely. My friend Kim.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Kim Hurd. I'm the Executive Vice President of Property Management for KCG Companies. We're based out of Indianapolis, Indiana. And unlike Marcy, I'm going to tell you that I've been doing this for over 25 years, and then I just stopped counting at that point. It's 25 plus, and that's good enough. Again, as Marcy says, this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. People ask me all the time. It's probably the number one question I get asked is, how do you juggle all your stuff? I follow you on Facebook. I follow your family and all of the things going on with that and everything you're doing at NAA and NAAEI. How do you do it? And some days I do it really well. And we've got a lot of team members on this call, so I gotta be authentic and accountable. Some days I don't do it well at all, but that's what we're going to talk about today. I think it's great that this session is called Unfiltered because that is the 3 of us. We're going to be honest and authentic with you and admit what we're doing well and own some of the things that we could do better on. But what we want you to know is you're not alone in this if this is a struggle for you as well.
Indeed. All right, well, let's get into it. So I'm going to throw this one back to you, Aishia. If you could first talk about your ideas of work-life balance. Do you think it exists? Is it real? What's it even about?
So I will say I used to really think that work-life balance was a thing. That was when I was younger and had a lot more energy. As I've grown in my career and in the industry and in volunteer leadership roles, I realized that for me, work-life balance isn't always meaning that I am going to be good or great at everything every day. So to be transparent and unfiltered, there are days when I am literally mom of the year. I'm hand making costumes. I'm on the PTA. And on those days, I am probably an average executive. And that's just the truth. And then there are days when I am comfortable saying I am one of the best property management professionals in the tri state area. No need to be humble, guys. Those days, I am also Uber eating McDonald's for my family. And I think that for me, that's the reality of it is I haven't figured out a way to be good at everything at once, but as needed, I am great in certain roles. And some days I'm great in other roles. And I think that for me, I have to find balance and give myself grace in those things.
I love that. You know, I don't think I'm ever really good. We've been Uber eating since Uber Eats became a thing, and we eat out a lot, and I probably waste a lot of money because I'm not a great cook. Actually, I was getting my nails done yesterday, and the lady said, "What are you cooking for dinner?" And I fell out. I was like, "Cooking? What?" It is fend for yourself at my house. I'm not sure I've ever handled that. Been the mom of the year, and I didn't go to the PTA meetings very often either. So my kids were theater kids, and I try to show up for that stuff, the things that they're performing, always serious about homework and grades. For me, I agree with you, Aishia. It's just like I think of it as work-life integration, not so much balance, because I think balance, you have this scale in mind that everything is getting everything it needs, and it's this perfect same level of energy. And the truth is, to your point, some days I'm a really great mom, some days I'm a really great friend, sometimes I'm a great partner, sometimes I'm really great at my job. And never am I all those things at once. Never. I can literally go back in the history of my kids growing up. They're both adults now. And I can tell you, I've never been good at all of it at once. Maybe on one good day, I checked everything off every box, and I was like, oh, let's write that on a calendar because it'll never happen again. But to your point, the older I get, the more I let myself off the hook to realize everyone has the same struggle. It's not just you and me and Kim, it's everybody trying to figure out, where do I show up strong today? Who needs my attention the most today? Because where there's fire, there is water, and that's what you're going to get on that day. So you fires get to go first. I don't know, Kim, what do you think? I know we've got some stats that we can talk about, and we definitely aren't the only ones.
Yeah, I mean, let me just weigh in on the whole life. I'm going to say life work balance because
Mm.
I'm trying really hard to put the life part first. I don't believe it's ever balanced. I agree with both of you on that. If it is, I haven't figured it out yet. I'll say that much. And when I do get close on those days, like, oh, maybe I do have this figured out, I'm selling myself short. It means I pulled off things like being flexible at work. I came in late because I had a school event, or I left early because I had a school event. Maybe I nailed time management that day, and I really had, like, I got some major things done. I stuck to my plan. I set a boundary. Someone asked me to do something that I maybe would have said yes, and I didn't, and said no, and it was okay. The world didn't stop turning. So when I think about work life or life work balance, the days when I'm really hitting it, it's because I hit some major topics in it. But I think about it's pumpkin patch season. I don't know if everybody does this. This is a huge thing in the Midwest right now. So I took my 3 teenage boys to a pumpkin patch last weekend, and they had the old school teeter totter. So I may be dating myself here, but the boys were reliving their childhood, right? And so I feel like that's life work balance to me. One's up, one's down, right? And so they were trying to balance it. And it was hard because they're not the same age, they're not the same build. And so they get close, right? I feel like that's me some days where I'm like, oh, I think I got it, I don't have it. And as soon as they would get it, somebody would jump off or slam
Mhm.
the other person down, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, that's my life right there, right? Like, well, I think I just got it. And then something happens and we get knocked out of the process. And I just thought that whole pumpkin patch tea, they were having fun and I was having like a life moment watching them do this. But I just think that's so real for what we're doing. Some days I'm up, some days I'm down, some days I'm real close, and then I fall off. It happens like that. So, but yeah, we've got some great statistics to share too, right? Um, according to a Deloitte survey, right, 77% of women executives reported feeling burned out. And we want to give a shout out to, we don't want to, this isn't just for our female executive friends. We want to be inclusive, right? So additionally, then 63% of men felt the same way in similar roles. And so this is us. If you're feeling that, I mean, put that in the chat. This is a chance for us to share and have a little healing moment together, a little therapy session. If you are feeling like I feel that resonates with me, feel free to chime in with that. Some of the other statistics that we had, 62% of women executives prioritize flexible work arrangements. And that's because we're doing so much, right? So Aishia, for you in a typical day, what all are you balancing that a flexible work arrangement would help with?
So for me in a typical day, I have two children. My daughter is a teenager. My son is 9. So I'm balancing kind of what that looks like as far as elementary school responsibilities. I don't know how it used to be, but I feel like there's a thing every week. It's like there's book character parades, there's the Scholastic Book Fair. Oh, wait, bring something to school tomorrow. So I'm always trying to balance that as a mother. Then I'm a wife. So I have to make sure that I'm checked in with my husband and seeing how he's doing. I'm following a lot of sports. Here's a little fact. Do you guys know this is the only time of the year where all major sports are on at once? NBA,
Yes.
NHL, NFL, MLB. I know that because my husband's following it, guys. So keeping up with those type of things. And then outside of like being a professional, I'm a friend, I'm a daughter. So flexible work schedules is something that I only recently started to prioritize, but the ability to be able to say, like, hey, to your point, Kim, I'm going to come in an hour late so I can drop off these things. But in that 6 or 7 hour workday, I'm going to make sure I'm as productive. It's so important in having organizations that support that and allow that. It's really where I feel like we're going as an industry because multifamily is a very people centric industry. And our internal customers are our team members. So when they have flexibility and they have this balance that we're talking about, they're going to treat your external customers better. So your residents are going to have a better experience when your team members aren't stressed out, worried if they're going to make it to their son's school play or even
Right.
to go happy hour with a friend.
Right. So Marcy, let me throw out this next statistic and see how you respond to this. And I'll be real interesting to watch the chat room on this one too. A study by McKinsey found that women in executive roles often work longer hours than their male counterparts, averaging approximately 10 hours more a week. Can you relate to that? Anybody in the chat relate to that?
Gosh, yeah. I can remember a point in my career, I was sick and I was trying to work and I was putting in, it was a new management company that I was building and I was putting in 14, 16-hour days sometimes. And my daughter snapped a picture of me at my laptop. I had literally fallen asleep in bed with my laptop open. Like I looked a mess. And I remember I posted it on social media. I was like, full transparency, this is what it's really looking like behind the scenes. You know, I was working all the hours because I was a single mom. So for me, I want to give credit to my ex-husband, my husband, because he really was a great support. But there was just times when his life, when I was carrying a good portion of the caretaking. So I had to schedule my travel schedule plus working all the time. Plus, you know, my kids were trying to participate in extracurricular activities and I was working 10, 12, 14-hour days. And there was a feeling of, for me to be able to get ahead, I had to do that. I could not come to work and say, you know, I gotta doctor's appointment for my kids. I was trying to find my husband to, can you come get them and take them to the doctor because I can't call out sick. I'm trying to climb this corporate ladder. And as a woman, where at that time, all of the people in corporate positions ahead of me, executives, were all men, and I was the only woman and the only person of color. So there felt like this pressure to be perfect at work all the time. Now, hindsight's 2020, and I pay for my kids' therapy, but they tell me all the time, Mom, you were really disconnected as a parent for this section of time because you were so focused on your career. But I was focused on creating a life for them that was better than the one I had as far as financials, financial stability. I had a great childhood. My parents were always there, but we didn't have any money. So, it's a catch-22 again. The scales tip one to the other. I don't know
That's real life though. That is real. I mean, that is real life. And there, if you're watching the chat, there are so many people that can relate to this and are saying, yes, I feel that this is where I'm at too. Let me give you one more and then we'll move on from I love the data and the statistics. I get kind of jazzed about that. Support systems. We've talked a little bit about that already. We're going to touch on it more in just a bit, but companies that provide support programs like mentorship, networking opportunities, things like that, see better retention rates. Organizations with strong DEI initiatives report a higher, 20% higher retention and satisfaction rate among women in leadership. And so one of the things we just want to make sure that we keep saying is we're all people. We're all going through the same things. We may have different versions of it, and we're going to talk about a little bit about that today too. But we need support. We need to support each other. We need to know that you're not alone in this. I'm going to say that myself a couple of times, and that it's okay to be okay. And if you feel like you're the only one, reach out to the three of us. We will assure you on your worst day, you are not, and we're there. We're there for you. So,
all right. Let's see. Oh, I got caught up. Burnout. We were just talking about this. Burnout. Aishia. Burnout is, those neglecting their own needs while trying to help others, which can lead to feeling of helplessness, anger, sadness, and fatigue. I know you all were talking about some of this stuff in your session earlier this week with Dana, I believe it was, and the mental health aspect of burnout. I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
So I just want to say, when we're talking about burnout, I hope everyone is enjoying this. I hope I've showed up for you too, but y'all, I am burnt out. So I think in line with kind of what we've been talking about and what you said earlier, especially when we talk about this through a DE&I lens, for a lot of women or underrepresented people, you do not think that you have the option to say no to an opportunity or to put boundaries in place or to not be the best at all times. So when you're trying to operate at 100% all the time, you find yourself burning out. And for me this week specifically, I'm going to share. I was facilitating the CAM Monday through Wednesday. So I'm proud NAA EI faculty. At the same time, I was doing these webinars and then going home and trying to catch up on homework, knowing that I had to leave Wednesday night to be in Baton Rouge to speak at 9 a.m. And I did feel like, oh my God, I'm so tired, I'm burned out, and these things. And I think the lesson that I've learned in the last few years is what's for me is for me. And that sounds really like hippy dippy, but it's true. There's going to be opportunities that I can say no to and things that just might not be the best fit. But as long as I'm saying no with intention, I can make sure I don't burn out. I also think when we're talking about burnout, not only do you need to be able to recognize it in yourself, you need to be able to recognize it in your team members. Like as executives and leaders, I need to be able to see when my team is getting close to that wall. You don't want them to hit it because for a lot of us, when you're burned out, like in that space, it could last for weeks. So now, from a business standpoint, you're honestly seeing a decline in their productivity and their efficiency. And then as a person, you see that they're just not who they used to be. So I want to make sure that you know how to recognize it in yourself, but also what it looks like for our teams, because we do work really hard in this industry and we work hard as people outside of it. So like being able to see it I call it when you're like 50%, like when my battery's at 50%, I need to stop. I don't need to wait till it's blinking red. Like, why do I have to have my internal phone die? We would never let our real phones die. When you see it at 25, you're like, who has a charger for me? You never let your cell phone die. Be the same way with yourself and your energy and your internal resources.
That's really good. Jennifer in the chat said, no is a complete sentence. And I love that. I've heard that before. And it is a great reminder, Jennifer. No is a complete sentence. You do not have to explain yourself. Just the no is enough. All right, Kimberly, financial burdens. Caregiving can be financially stressful. We know this, affecting where caregivers live, what services their loved ones are eligible for, and their work options. I know that you have been a caretaker for a parent. I'm there now, and I'm starting to experience this. And you and I have lots of conversations as I'm coming up behind you. So talk to us a little bit about that kind of stressor.
So I want to make sure no one feels like they're not included in this conversation, right? So when we talk about caregiving, for me, it goes up. I was a caregiver for my mother for 9 years before she passed away this year. That's my little sad moment. I'll get the energy back here in just a minute. It goes down to my children. I've got to take care of them as well. And it goes sideways to my spouse. And then I got to take care of this too, right? And so as we talk about caregiving, right, for me, it includes up, down, sideways. But as humans, we care about other humans, right? Your caregiving may be a pet, an animal. That is not my thing, but I have friends who take better care of their pets than I do of my boys sometimes. So for some people, that is a very real part of caregiving. But whoever you're caring for, if it's just yourself, that is important too, right? It's all complex and it's all very stressful on top of everything else we do. So when we think about what that financial burden can look like and what you're going through, when I was caring for my mother, she lived with us for 9 years, and she only ate certain things. And so that provided a financial burden from food and groceries and things like that, right? There was a financial burden related to her in the clothes that she needed as holidays changed, or she just changed what she liked to wear, what she was comfortable in. Just her day-to-day needs, her medical appointments, just things that kept her happy, gifts that she wanted to give to someone else that I needed to get to make sure she had that to give someone else. So that's its own layer. Then when we talk about where they live, right? She lived with us for 9 years. And then we came to a point where we had to make a really tough decision because we could no longer provide the services also listed in that box that she needed. And so there was a financial burden to bringing someone into the house to look after her for a while, and then ultimately deciding that she needed to go into assisted living. And that transitioned then into more of a rehabilitation situation ultimately. And all of those come at a high cost. I always think when we talk about apartments and the rent, and people are talking about how you know how high the rents are, you have obviously not looked at assisted living, because those are massive numbers. So we have to think about where they're going to live and how nice it's going to be and what those amenities are. I had to have those conversations with her too. Did she really need a place at 85 that had a movie theater? Could we do without that or not, right? And we all want the best for those people in our family, but there's no perfect answer, right? It's a lot of stress. It is a lot of financial burden, but everybody has to make that decision for themselves. And on top of that, while I'm thinking about those expenses up, I had kids in daycare and after school programs and sports. And I just think I'm really lucky that I didn't have dance, because I hear a lot of really expensive stories about dance. I didn't have that aspect. So I didn't have that battle. But you have those expenses as well. And at one point I was paying for all of it, right? In addition to trying to take care of our standard day-to-day needs. And then looking at those services as well for people, right? So I've become an expert on living trusts and wills and Medicare and pharmacies and all different kinds of therapies and occupational therapy and all of those things, as well as I have a special needs child. And so I've had to become an expert on IEPs and all things related to autism and all of those things. So, and all of those come at a cost as well. And so it's just, it is a lot that we're all dealing with. And we as women typically try to make it look like we got it all together, right? Just keep bringing it on. I got more room. And so again, I'm here to say, it's a lot. It is challenging, and you're not alone. But it is a burden that we carry and that we take on, and it's real life.
Yeah, indeed. Um, that brings us to support or lack of support. Caregivers may feel a heavy sense of responsibility, constant worry, uncertainty about their loved one's needs. And, I was listening to you talk about all the things that you had to go through, and I'm thinking, I'm just touching on that now, and I don't even know where to start. So having a support system is everything. I know that I can call Kim and say, Kim, I'm now working on this whole Medicare thing. I don't even know where to start. Open enrollment's happening. I got to take care of all this stuff for my dad. Help me. And I think, we talk about lack of support, but sometimes I think support is there. We just don't always remember to tap into it. We have close friends, other family. I say I'm a caretaker for my dad, but the truth of the matter is I'm doing the admin side of it. I'm doing the let me check and see what services are available. He lives with my sister in another state. So, she's carrying that piece of it where he's physically with her. She's got all the things you just mentioned, making sure the food is there, he's comfortable, all of that. And I'm over here, where do I need to send a check? Where do I need to log in and pay a bill? How can I make sure all of the admin stuff is taken care of? And then I realize support system. There's the two of us. My uncle has gone through some of this, his oldest brother. I call him and ask him for help on what are the next steps. Like Kim, I have another best friend who took care of her mother and went through the whole caretaking. How do I get all that taken care of? For a good 10, 15 years, she's been a huge support. But sometimes I feel this need to carry the load and I forget there are people out there. And I think it's just a reminder, if you're a caretaker of people, you're a caretaker of yourself. And I think somebody mentioned that in the chat as well. It's the whole empty cup theory. If my cup is empty, how am I supposed to pour into someone else? So one, I think it's just a reminder, sit down and think about who your support system is. I know they're there. People say I'm alone, but they're usually not really alone. There's somebody they can call and talk to, ask advice. Therapy. We're going to talk about different programs we can tap into as employees, but there are support and help. Transparency, vulnerability usually is the first step. And then you can now open the door to find support in the folks around you. So here we have kind of some pictures of our folks that we are caretakers for in our circles. As I mentioned, I'm in the process now where I'm starting to take care of my dad. My children are adults. So I made it. Woohoo! I survived. Parenthood. Let me tell you, by the way, they always say, oh, just wait. The toddler stage is the worst. And then they go, oh, just wait until they're teenagers. It's the worst. Let me tell you something. Wait till your children are whole adults and they get to make their own decisions. And now you have to sit and watch. It's a whole nother level. So anyway, so I have adult children. They both still live with me. And then I have my father I take care of. Aishia, who are you caretakers for before we get into our personal stories?
So if you can't tell who is who in this picture,
Right.
because I birthed myself, guys. So the person in the jersey is my daughter. She is 16. She stole my face, but not my demeanor. And the little cutie is my son. He's 9. So I am a caretaker to these two. I do have an amazing husband, but parenthood is the worst hood I've ever been to. And I don't know if I'd recommend it. I'll let you guys know shortly. But for now, you don't have to take this road. It's not for everyone.
She said 5 out of 10. I'm not sure if I recommend. How about you, Kim? What you got going on?
So I'm a proud boy mom. This is my herd of herds right here. So I have a 19-year-old on the end of there. who is a freshman at college, and that's a new experience for me, understanding how ill prepared he is to be on his own. I thought I did a really good job. I didn't. And then I have a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old, and then my husband there in the middle with me. And he has been instrumental in getting us to the point where we're at now. But I'm a proud boy mom, battling college for the first year, the always exciting world of autism, and then the most precious youngest child who ever graced this earth. He's keeper.
Well, let's see, Kim, tell us a little bit about your story of caretaking. I know we're coming to about the halfway mark here. We've told you some little snippets, the audience of all of us. I like that. She stole your face, but not your demeanor. Mine stole my demeanor and definitely not my face. We don't look anything, we don't even look related. So Kim, tell us your story about you caretaking, how you've balanced it a little bit, and how you made it here. Here you are sharing with everybody else in the audience.
Yeah, so
What snippets can you share with us?
I wish I had like truly the answer to everything for this. This is a picture of me and my mommy. As I mentioned, she is no longer with us, but I stole her. I am 100% that woman, and the world couldn't handle two of us, is what I'm guessing. But I also now have a son who rivals me, and the world isn't ready for that either. So, as I said, I've got 3 teenage boys, right? One in college. And so now I financially support, while we were talking about financial struggles, I financially support Indiana University Bloomington at a highest level. And he's learning how to navigate life on his own or not, and calling me at 11:30 like, I forgot to eat dinner, what do I do? And I'm like, it's 11:30, I'm in bed, figure it out. So my middle child is 15. He is autistic, neurodivergent, with a label of 2E, which means he is twice exceptional. And I think that's a really cool label to carry. I'd like to carry that some days. He is autistic and highly gifted. So it has its own challenges, right? As an executive who travels a lot, I'm on the road today. I saw someone else talk about their traveling and doing planes, trains, and automobiles. So I'm trying to navigate his world with him. He will most likely never have a driver's license. He'll most likely always stay with me, he says specifically. He has the most expansive vocabulary of any child you will ever meet, and he's an expert at the highest level on Pokemon. So if you ever need a tip or a question about that, he's your guy. And he holds my hand everywhere we go because it comforts him. And so anywhere you see us, we are connected at the hands. And how do I navigate that? My precious youngest 13-year-old, who is just 13, and all those things that come with that. In addition to the volunteer roles, right, that I have at NAAI. I'm president of NAAI this year and co-chair of the 2025 Apartmentalize Conference and leading the Education Advisory Board for NAA this year in that role too. And so how do I do all that? Some days I don't know. I do the best I can. And so as we've talked about all of these challenges in our story, I think it's about what matters tomorrow, right? It's fall break. So tomorrow I'm going to cut my workday short, and the boys and I are going to go do miniature golf, which is not my favorite thing in the world, but it is theirs. And we're probably going to end up at Popeyes because they love Popeyes. And tomorrow's going to be a parent win. And then Monday is going to be a work win because I'm back at it and I've got things to do because I played putt-putt and ate Popeyes on Friday, right? And so it's just like everything we've said. Some days I win as a mom. Some days I win as an executive. Some days NAAI wins. But everybody isn't winning on the same day. So, and some days my team wins. I got to give a big shout out to my team is on the call and supporting me here too. And I can't do what I do without them either, right? Because they step up when I can't, or when my schedule's too full or I need something done. That's my support group too.
Amazing. Aishia, you're a working mom as well, school age kids, doing all the things, doing all the volunteerism. Tell us all you got on your plate.
So I think I want to make sure that I say like the reason this session is so important for this week is because when people hear DE&I, they do think about very specific types of diversity. And I'm happy we're doing this because there's diversity in thought, there's diversity in your familial status, there's diversity in what you have going on as far as if you're a caregiver. I'm gonna be honest, even if I was just caregiving for myself, I'm a lot. So if you're only taking care of you, in this 2024, you are still doing the work. So be proud of yourself because we want to make sure everyone understands this conversation is for everyone. But I told you guys, I'm a mom, I'm a wife. This is a picture of my friend group, and I am very proud to be a good friend. And these are people who I've known, some of them since freshman year of college. The one with the orange cup in her hand, it's water. She is the god mom to my kids. She is my very best friend in the world. And I think that my story is like they are so integral to who I am. I don't know who I would be in the professional world or the world in general without my friendships. So when I talk about like being a caregiver, sometimes in my role, that does mean, hey, I'm not coming in Friday because I'm going to go to a baby shower, or I'm not coming in because my goddaughter's in a play. And on the same token, it means that sometimes when I can't, like I just can't make it work and I can't make it to one of my daughter's shows because she is a theater kid, heavy on the theater and drama. These are the women who are showing up and making sure that she still feels loved and supported. So I'm just managing, I think, to the best of my ability. And I'm lucky and blessed to have so many people who aren't necessarily blood related, but who have made it their business to show up for me. So when we're talking about finding your people and finding your space and you're never alone, someone doesn't have to be family to be there for you. And I think the more that we can focus on who shows up and how do they show up, the better we can feel knowing that we're not alone ever, like Kim and Marcy have been saying. And worst case scenario, Kim, Marcy, and I will show up for you. I'm always trying to find a friend. Nakiba, what's up? So that's my story, guys.
No, yesterday we were told we couldn't be your friend, that you were already taken. I just want you to know that. You're loved so much. The people are claiming you like this. That's my friend. You can't have her.
It's untrue, y'all. I'm always open for friends, okay?
Okay, you heard it here first. All right. Well, this is my immediate family. This is my dad, his daughters, and his grandkids. So this for me, I live far from my family. So I live in Florida. My family lives in Colorado. My dad recently moved in with my sister. And, I'm really struggling, fully transparent, that struggling with being so far away and knowing my dad is needing us, needing me more than he ever has. Some of you have heard my story when I've done DEI facilitation, but this man, uh, really just saw me in a hospital in the nursery and looked through the glass and said, that girl right there, that's going to be my baby. So he chose to take care of me, and it's very special to me. And so I have a level of responsibility to make sure he's taken care of at the same high level that he took care of me. And I am who I am today because of him. So being so far away, been traveling for work, and I'm on, I think last week was week 9. I have traveled some portion of 9 weeks straight. I almost made it a solid week at home, but I'm actually traveling tomorrow. But the good news is I'm traveling to go see him for his birthday. And then I've got 4 more weeks of travel. So when it's all said and done, I'll have been on the road a portion of 13 weeks straight.
I'm ready to see you.
I get to go, yes, and I'm going to see Kim after I see my dad. I'm pretty excited, but those are the things that fill my cup. So as I'm taking care of those around me, one of the things I do to find integration is to find stops along the way where I get to see the people who bring me joy and do fill my cup. I was on a trip couple weeks ago, and my friend Kim saw I was on the road in the same place as one of our other friends and said, y'all are in the same place. y'all should get together. So I saw two friends in the same night. My friend Todd, who you'll get to see tomorrow during the DEI week session. Todd Hignite and I had dinner and caught up, and that filled my cup. And then I got to see the very famous Greg Sorbana, who found time to have dinner and make me laugh till my sides hurt. So I think that there's times to integrate when we're taking care of the business. Because I travel so much, I have lots of points. So when I have a minute, I travel home, I see my family, and they fill my cup. You got to remember where you come from, and trust and believe my little sister reminds me where I come from. She's not letting me get to, you might be successful, big sister, but you have family back here and we need you. So I think there's some great ways to create this said balance, and we're going to talk about that next. But at the end, just like Ashia said, we're all humans, we're people, all doing the best we can, just like all of you. And I think we can share some things that help create said balance. So, Aishia, what do you know about these resources, EAPs and PTO? PTO? People take PTO? Tell me about it.
Listen, Marcy knows that this is a thing for me. So first, when we talk about employee assistance programs, when you started a new job, you're receiving so much information. And I don't know about you guys, but for the most part, I'm just trying to make sure I know how to do my job. So your company usually has these resources. Sometimes it's literally financial, where you can have a certain set amount of dollars to use towards like the Calm app or therapy or massages. But I think it's best practices, especially if you're in an executive role, to like the same way you have annual reviews or quarterly reviews, remind your team members of the support that's built into your organization. So if I would remind you to use your 401k or that you can go to the dentist, I should also be reminding you that, hey, do you know we would support you through getting meditation, calm apps? I've heard you can get leg massagers. I don't know. Somebody try it and let me know, because my legs hurt. And as far as PTO, we've talked a lot about being flexible, but ultimately, I think the biggest thing is, as long as someone is not abusing it and they're operating within whatever your PTO is, don't make people tell you why they need to take it. So for me, if I'm taking a day and I'm using it for self-care or to get my hair braided, should I have to fake cough on Tuesday to not come in on Wednesday? No, guys. We know we're running businesses, but PTO is there to help them have the ability to take a break and come back better. So make sure your team members know what their PTO is and that you're allowing them to take it and be off. Not partially, not still checking emails, but actually off. None of us want to be Marcy in that picture when she was laid out in her bed, because doesn't sound like a sight I want to see.
It wasn't cute at all. Kimberly, quote, "I believe in you," unquote, Heard. Tell us about the importance of a supportive environment.
I will. I have to tell you, I felt very triggered by Ashia's statement there about when you're off, take time off. And even one of my regionals just put in the chat, like, right, we've talked to her about this. So I felt like that was triggered at me.
Those for you.
I want to be authentic here. What we do is tough. And it's hard, and it doesn't stop at 5 or on Friday when we walk out the door. And we have to be kind to each other. We have to be supportive to each other, because there are people who I just posted something on Facebook about an emotional support dumpster fire. And I think I got more comments on that thing than I do when I do videos with my autistic child or pictures of my family. Like, that resonated with people, that little crocheted emotional support dumpster fire. We've got to be here for each other and support each other. It's tough what we do, right? And so I'm going to challenge all of us to become okay with being okay. I said it earlier. We need to quit trying to be Superwoman and acting like nothing's wrong or nothing gets to us. My team knows when I have a bad day, not because I yell or scream, but I'm comfortable saying to them, I'm having a bad day, guys. I'm going to need somebody to step up on this, or I'm going to need a break this afternoon. I'm authentic with them. I'm transparent with them. And that makes it okay for them to do the same thing back with me. And I think we try so hard in leadership roles and as executives to make it look like we've got it all together. But that puts pressure on our team where they don't feel like they cannot have it all together. And some days we just don't, despite our best efforts, right? So I tell my team all the time, I give them tough opportunities and tough challenges, but I believe in them. And I mean it, it's sincere. And I will tell them when they're like, I don't think I can do this, or I don't know how to do this, or I'm not sure. And I always say, I believe in you because I do. I hired really smart, talented people on my team, and then I get out of their way. So much so, to Marcy's point, I got a T-shirt that says they sent it back to me, sent the love back to me with a T-shirt I wear now that says I believe in you. And it's true, right? We have to create that kind of an environment, right? And thinking about what are you doing so that your team can vent to you without any repercussions. So when we're in those moments, I will ask them, like, do you want me to do something about this or just need to get it off your chest? And let them have that opportunity to tell you what direction they need to move in. It also mentions on this little box ERG. So this isn't something we do yet at my company, but I'm super interested in employee resource groups. So those opportunities for networking and collaboration between members who have similar interests or similar backgrounds, it's a great place for the support of DEI initiatives as well. So that's something I'm looking forward to in the future. But I just want us to take care of each other at the end of the day.
That's good. Before I talk about setting realistic expectations, fun fact, if you go to Amazon and you search emotional support dumpster fire, you can get one for just the low cost of $9.99. So I just want you to know they're out there if you need one. I saw somebody asked about needing an emotional support dumpster fire. It's available. Setting realistic expectations. I think both as a leader and as a team member of a staff, of a team, that we should set and vocalize realistic expectations. Some days I work at a company where it's just me and my boss is not really bossing. He's out doing whatever he does. So I sometimes have to reach out to him and say, here's what's going on in my world. I know we haven't spoken a week, or we had 2-minute conversation about something very specific, but I need you to know I'm over here as a human and this thing is happening. It's happened to me a couple times this last year where I had to set an expectation. Here's what's going to happen over the next few months. Recently, I've had to set the expectation that, listen, my dad's health is progressively getting worse. There's going to be a day where you're going to get a call or a text from me where I'm not going to be able to be available to you. And I set the expectation because he's accustomed to me being somewhat available even when I'm off. It is one of those things that come with unlimited or no PTO policy, right? I don't have a PTO that we track. So I take off when I want and just make sure my job is done. But that means sometimes when I'm not working, he reaches out to me and doesn't, it's this balance thing, this trade-off that I have. But I said, listen, when I make that phone call or send you that text message, I'm telling you now, I'm setting the expectation now, I will not be available. Here is where you can get all my stuff. I keep very good notes. I keep everything very organized. I keep you up to speed on the things you need to know. But when it happens, I don't know, not here, not here. So I think, doing that, I think managing, I'm a calendar girl. Listen, I cannot do life without a calendar. And by the time iPhones became a thing and my kids had an iPhone, the deal was, listen, you want me to be at said play that you're the lead in, and I'm so proud of you, but my memory span is like this. And if it's not on the calendar, I might accidentally have a work trip that I didn't mean to do, or somebody else may book one for me. So you have to send me a calendar invite to let me know that I have to be a mom on November 3rd at 7 p.m. I know that sounds awful. Who schedules momming? Me. I schedule momming. It's the only way I can do it. So you need me to be at a meeting. You need me to work on a project. You need me to be a mom. You need me to be your girlfriend. It needs to be on my calendar. So that is one of the ways I set my own expectations and that I can realistically handle all the things I need to handle. Real quick before we move on, Kim and Aishia, is there anything that you use that helps you balance your world?
I will just say real quick that I block my calendar, and I don't want my team to hear this, but I block my calendar. So I have blocks on certain days for professional development, because if I don't make a block for it, it's not going to happen, right? And I've got a book I'm reading right now on extreme leadership and ownership that I'm not going to read it if I don't make a block for it. I've got some time where I want to get some things done on a separate to-do list, and I block it out on my calendar so people think I'm not available because the block is taken. And that is intentional. That is a way I can control and put some boundaries around my schedule.
That's really good. When I had staff, that was the only way I could eat lunch maybe once or twice a week, is having a lunch date with myself. How about you, Aishia? What are you using to?
So I know that this is odd, but I'm still into like paper. So I use a teacher's planner because it has like the subjects, so almost like class blocks. So it's like, what do I need to do as a property manager? What do I need to do as an executive? What do I need to do as a mom? What do I need to do as a volunteer leader? And so I literally am running it like they are all subjects that I teach in my life, and it's been working pretty well. I also have an emotional support, Marcy. So she tells me when I'm going to be late to things, if I'm expected to be there, and it's going well for me. Probably stressing her out, but that's not my bad, guys. So
I mean, get what you need. Use the resources that you have. I mean, that's what it is. I like the color coding or the coding. I color code my calendar so I know which things are related to my day job, my uh, French's Leadership Solutions, personal life. NAAEI is very purple this week on my calendar. Kim Hurd knows well. So I'm coming in as incoming vice president, and there's lots of purple on the calendar this week for EI. So as we wrap up today, this has been an amazing conversation. I know we hoped that we could share just some of our personal selves with all of you, but Kim, what closing words do you have for our people that have joined us today, taking an hour out of their time?
I know. So I appreciate that, because that's a lot in our world of property management, right? And I'm certain a lot of them were multitasking, as I would have been had I not been a panelist here today. I just want to again remind you all that you're not alone in whatever you're dealing with, whatever you're juggling, however you're feeling. Take a minute and throw it in the chat so everybody can see you are not alone. If somebody's like, well, everybody's not alone but me. I mean, let's fill the chat room with "you are not alone" so everybody sees they are not alone. My takeaway, my thing that gives me a little bit of peace in a day that is a dumpster fire with no emotional support is I take a break. At some point, you just have to get up and step away, right? I may go outside and just walk the parking lot. I may just get up and stretch at my chair. I may get up and go find somebody in the office that I haven't spoken to that week, that probably thinks they don't matter to me, but they do, and just go stop by their cube and just check in. How are you doing? How's your week going? Etc. I may I don't jump on Facebook, because once I'm on it, I struggle to get back off of it. But I may play one round of my very favorite game on my phone to just take a break. It is okay. And just take a break for a minute. It's so stressful. And I want us to be all right. Just taking a 5 minute, 3 minute, 2 minute, whatever that is, and then coming back to it again.
That's so good. That's so good. My new thing is I lost two friends in 1 month. And one of them I was thinking about. And so my rule is always, and I've been trying to be better about this, if I have a dream about you or if I think about you more than once, like it's time to reach out. There's a reason. So I always do that. Um, I'm only going to be great at one thing at a time. I just know that about myself. So if I'm going to be great at something, but I'm not going to be great at everything. And if I just set every day up like that, the alley-oop, my friend Aishia, the alley-oop.
yeah.
I'm going to be great at one thing. It's not everything. And I'm going to slam dunk that one thing. That's all I got every day. It's one thing. There's a book called The One Thing, by the way. It's also well worth reading. Aishia, what you got? How are we doing?
Yeah, so I have two takeaways. I was supposed to have one, but I'm overachiever. So the first one is, and I said this on Monday, but I will say it every day. Guys, rest is not a reward. You don't reward yourself with rest. Rest is the requirement that you need to be good, to be great, to function. So don't say, I'm going to rest after I do XYZ. I'm rest so that you can do them well. And then lastly, if you think about your favorite boss, your favorite team member, your favorite colleague, the first thing that comes to mind is not they never needed help. They never asked me for anything. That's not what makes you a great boss or a great professional. So it's not helping you to not ask for the support or the resources you need. So ask for help. Like Kim said, you're not alone. And if you can take the time to be vulnerable and say, hey, this is what I'm going through, and this is how you can support me. There's literally 100 people in the chat saying, I'm here with you. You're not alone. So those are my two. And I know we're really close to the time, but I wanted to open it up to questions. I know, Marcy, you're checking the chat. Oh, also, you can connect with us here. Scan our QR codes.
This will take you directly to our LinkedIn. I figured that was very appropriate professionally, LinkedIn. You probably can get to our chats that way, to our emails that way. If you feel alone, you want to chit chat, I know all three of us are available through our LinkedIns. You can find us. We're in different other sources as well, but that's the place. That's the professional place. But you know, there's not been a lot of questions, but some great comments. If you have questions, feel free to drop them in now. I'm looking, but we've got April who's ready to go on vacation, and the rest thing resonated. I know it resonated with me on your session, Aishia, but rest is a requirement. It's not the reward. And I wrote that down. I'm going to find a little place to hang it in my office because I think that is such a great reminder for everyone. Lori has got her emotional support dumpster fire. You should call those people, Kim, and see if they give you some, you need a percentage of their sales.
I just have to tell you this, our EVP of HR gave that to me. I thought that was telling in its own right.
Well, then let's see what else. Everybody's just comments. Great job. We're having a good time. Did you all have a good time today? Was this a little bit of a freeing space for you all? Because that's really what we intended it to be. Good. I love it. All right, Josh, even though you're a Cowboys fan, I'm still grateful you're here.
I mean, we are inclusive of many things, but
We are.
not that. Okay. Sorry, Josh.
Not that. Oh, this is where we draw the line. Listen, that whole sports thing is real. Every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I was like, I am not I'm not married, but I'm in a relationship, and I'm just like, we're taking a break right now. We're just taking a break.
Yeah.
Sports.
When it was COVID and there was no sports, my husband got so much done around my house, y'all. I got a new kitchen cat. I was like, when did you get what is happening? You could do this?
All right. Fun fact, Aishia is not an Eagles fan.
Steelers, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow.
Oh my
I
goodness.
still love her too.
Oh my gosh, guys, I cannot tell you how impactful this has been. I'm literally without words. And if you guys have been watching all week, you know I have a couple of words from time to time. So thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much, panelists, for being here. I feel like I have a little extra insight into how to be great and just,
I
yeah.
believe in you,
Wow.
Tiana.
Well, thank you, ma'am, because I tell you what, sometimes I can use it. I really can. But no, thank you, everyone. I hope you have a fantastic day. And I tell you what, this hour was a transformative hour. Thank you. And we will see you tomorrow for the last day of DEI week. All right, guys.